This one is fascinating to me. Brendan Powers says, what would Vinny need to do to get into the Real Madrid all-time 11? Do the same for Jude.
If we want to keep it somewhat realistic with regards to position and all that, he would need to surpass Cristiano Ronaldo, which is impossible.
No, that's not going to happen. But I think he would sneak in.
How?
And you
like he would need to surpass Ronaldo, Di Stefano.
No,
no one cannot play. I refuse to introduce like six attackers in Real Madrid's best 11. I'm not interested in doing that.
Okay, so hold on. I think the path for him, if he continues like this, because what he has over previous club legends is if he stays at Real Madrid his whole career, he has longevity.
Mm-hmm.
If he continues playing like this and he stays and retires at Real Madrid, it'll be really hard to exclude him. I don't think he's excluding Cristiano or Di Stefano. I don't think anyone's going to ever do that. I think he replaces probably Benzema, and you would just ask Cristiano to move to the middle or something, or have them interchangeable. I know you love Benz. I do too. I'm just saying this is a theoretical conversation because right now he's not displacing Benzema from the all-time 11.
Then the answer is he would need to surpass Benzema, which is it is not out of reach. I would say, like, I would not use the word impossible for that. But the way Benzema closed his Real Madrid career with that season, man. With not his last season, obviously the Champions League winning season, the way he led the team in that particular year. I'm not saying that Vinicius cannot do that, but
I think the path for Bellingham is similar, but you would have to play without a DM. So it'd be something like 10 years from now, Bellingham and Vinny have been here their whole lives, basically. They've won 6 Champions League titles. And it's something like the front 6 is Bellingham, Kroos, Modric, Vinicius, Cristiano, Di Stefano. That would be the path to do it. And it would not be a team you make out of quote-unquote balance. It would just be, this is how you squeeze everybody in. Now, like, balance, if you get like Pete, Kroos, Modric, Bellingham, you could get away without a DM, I think.
Quite possibly. Maybe so. Yeah, maybe so. But Bellingham's path might be a little bit easier. Just because of the fact that Real Madrid have not had more than 3 or 4 really star midfielders playing for more than 6-7 years in the club. Like he has a pretty manageable path to surpass Zidane as a Real Madrid player, for example.
I think you could argue Zidane already doesn't start.
No, to me he would still start ahead of Bellingham.
You mean if Jude's career ended right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think this is a unique situation because these two players are so young still, and have already achieved so much, especially in Vinny's case. But I don't know, like Jaboyega in the chat says Bellingham definitely much easier. I don't know, like if Vinny's, I don't know if people realize how high Vinicius already is in like the all-time attacking rankings at Real Madrid. He's pretty high. And he's still, what is he, 20? What is he now?
24, 25, right?
Definitely not 25. 24, I think. Let me check. Vinicius is 24. Turns 25 next summer.
Yeah.
If he continues like this, he's pretty much, I mean, he's got basically, I mean, Gento is the one. But Gento is already not going to be a starter in that lineup. No. It's down to Benzema, really. If he can surpass Benzema's legacy, the way you squeeze him in is he replaces Benzema.
And Cristiano plays in the middle.
Shift the attack,
Yeah.
All right.
You have to, like, realistically, you would have to find room for Di Stefano on the right, I guess. But
That's the beauty of Di Stefano. He could
Yeah, you
literally
can
play
put him
DM
anywhere.
if
Yeah,
you needed him to play DM. He'll play DM, no
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
He'll balance the team out, no problem. If it's lopsided, he'll figure it out.
Anthony says, who are the three? Redondo, Luca, and Kroos for the midfield. To
That's who
me,
I
it's
have.
Luca, Kroos, and Zidane. Not as realistic, but Zidane is ahead of Redondo for me. Come on, man. Redondo lasted like 3 years. 3 years, really. In Real Madrid? 3 years.
No, he was more than 3 years. Redondo was at Real Madrid for 6 years. Won 2 Champions League titles. Instrumental in both those. I think if you would have put Redondo in place of Casemiro, he would have won the same amount as Kroos and Modric.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. My conversation is in Redondo, Casemiro. The argument for me is Zidane, but
well, at this point, Kroos has surpassed Zidane. So the way I look at it is, if you had a DM, Zidane would just be competing with Kroos and Modric, and he's not higher than either of those two.
Kroos will be your DM at the peak of his powers, right? Like 2015, 2014, 15. Yeah.
Yeah, this honestly could be an entire podcast on its own. I love these conversations. They're fascinating to me. But the interesting thing is, before Brendan asked this question, this exact question has been on my mind for like 1 week straight. It's like, what? And it's partly because of my book, and I'm like, I think there are just a few players who have shot up in the last few years. I mean, obviously Benzema, like the way he ended his career, shot him up tremendously in the all-time rankings at Real Madrid. Kroos is another one, and I feel like Vinny and Jude are going to be in that all-time conversation. And you never know with football; you never know exactly how it's going to pan out. But just assuming that they continue the way they're playing now, and we fast forward a decade, they won so many titles and they've done so many important things for Real Madrid. It's going to be really hard to exclude them, I think.
Look,
unless they leave, they get transferred at some point.
Look, I think the conversation is entirely different between Vinicius and Bellingham. Bellingham has been here for 1 year. We should, I know the prospect and his potential. Yeah, Vinicius rightfully deserves to be in this conversation and this debate already. Bellingham doesn't. Let's be honest. Bellingham has played one full season for Real Madrid. Brilliant one, sure. His potential indicates and suggests that nothing should stop him from keeping this up for at least 5-6 years. Sure, definitely. But Vinicius already belongs in this debate. Bellingham doesn't.
Hi in the chat says Zidane can be the manager of the 11 and it's solved.
Definitely.
What would actually be really solved is he can be player manager. If someone needs a sub, he just jumps on. This is the thing. Joboyega says the Galactico era was one of the club's biggest overrated farces, massive disappointment. That's only true after 2003. The first 3 years of it was great. Zidane was awesome. Figo was great.
I wouldn't say great.
Well, though, I mean, it was. You think about 2001, 2000.
It barely met expectations for those 3 years, I would say.
Look, we won the Champions League in the second year of the project.
Not a single double, man.
Well, no one wins the double at Real Madrid, but
we just did 2 times in 5 years.
But so I agree that it was a disaster. My point is that I think it's hard to blame Zidane for that.
Oh yeah, sure. I agree with that.
If Florentino puts himself in a time machine and goes back to that era, and he, with the knowledge and the way he's running the club now, that information, that 2003 summer, if he plays his cards right, this team should just go on a Champions League tear.
Yeah, the one signing he doesn't make is Beckham.
But I mean, there are ways to fit in Beckham, but you have to sell Figo.
Well, yeah, right.
You can't sell Makelele, and You definitely can't sell Cambiaso after losing Makaleli. There's just a lot of things they did wrong. Okay, so here's my overarching point: is this? It's hard for me to punish the no. It was not two League One Champions League in 6 seasons. That's not the way I look at it. I look at it so 2000 to 2003 is the way I look at it. That's the window for me where they were good.
Figo is the starting point of the Galacticos.
Yeah, they won. Those first 3 years were fine. I have no issue with it. They were playing great football. They were
fine is the right word.
Yeah,
great is not. You used great before.
The they were great in those first 3 years. I mean, no one
I wouldn't
wanted
go
to
as
face
far
them.
as saying great.
They were no one wanted to face them. They were
come on, man. They barely qualified for the Champions League in Paris. Like they reached. That was with Florentino already. Figo wasn't there, I know, but
no. Paris was
La Novena. Right,
that was before Florentino came.
Right, that's correct.
Paris was Lorenzo Sanzer. They finished 15th.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I think it's fair to criticize the Galactico era. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying from 2000 to 2003, they were on the right path, and they fucked everything up. And so when we're measuring the legacies of the Galacticos, I think it's unfair to just take that away from Zidane because it's not his fault the way it all went down after that. 2000 to 2003 was a success. It was fine. And then they just tore the team apart. And I just don't think I think in some ways, like, it's just hard for people to remember it correctly. It was on the right path and then it was dismantled. Anyways, I've been trying to move on from this question for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's go.
Any closing thoughts on this all-time discussion?
That's the one sentence I used before. Like, Vinicius already belongs in this discussion. Let's pump the brake a little bit with Bellingham. Let's wait.